All right, the meeting is called to order at 5:01. Hearing session. This is the portion of our meeting designated for comments from the public about matters related to the closed session agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 20 minutes allocated for a particular item or topic. To address the governing board, please submit to the clerk of the board a completed speaker card prior to the start of the closed session portion of the meeting.
We don't have any cards.
So we will adjourn into closed session at 5:02. Right, and we will return from closed session and reconvene into open session at 6:02. Public report of action taken in closed section, no action taken. Our flag salute this evening will be led by Mia Campa. Thank you, Mia.
Good evening, board members, cabinet, and community members. My name is Mia Campa, and I am a third grade student from La Paloma Elementary School. We will begin tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand for the flag salute? Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. My name is Juliana Broxson, and I'm in 5th grade at La Paloma Elementary. We are excited to share a few great moments from the last 2 weeks in FUESD schools with our students and staff. You will see highlights from our recent induction colloquium from new teachers, lunch on the lawn at May Alice Elementary, and Friday's Mother's Day tea at Live Oak Elementary.
with that, we'll turn it over to Mrs. Martin.
Come up here. So you get your certificate. Can you believe third grade? Wow. Fifth grade here? And then the board would come over here and there's a big picture. That was now
Thank you, girl. All right, that brings us to approve the minutes of May 1st regular meeting and May 4th and May 11th special meetings. It is recommended the governing board approve the minutes of the May 1st regular meeting and May 4th and May 11th special meetings. So do I have a motion to approve? Approved, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I'll call for the vote. Ms. Sabal? Aye. Ms. Lundin? Aye. Mr. Favela?
Aye.
Ms. McBride? Aye. And I vote aye as well. Motion passes. This brings us to the hearing session. This is the portion of our meeting designated for comments from the public about matters not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Should individuals wish to comment on items on the present agenda, they may do so during this portion of the meeting or at the time the item is considered by the board. Comments are limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 20 minutes allocated for a particular item or topic. While the Brown Act allows the board to hear issues within its jurisdiction from the public that are not on the agenda, it only allows the board to respond in a very limited manner, such as providing direction to staff. If the board were to have more than this type of brief discussion on an item not on the agenda, it could be a violation of the Brown Act's rules for posting the agenda. To address the governing board, please submit to the clerk of the board a completed speaker card prior to the start of the open session portion of the meeting. Mr. Favela, I see that we have some cards. Thank you.
Yes, we do. And we will start with Sandy Forrest. She did say something.
Good evening. While I was gardening today, I kept thinking of some things I've wanted to bring up for a while, and it has to do with the budget. And I do not know if this is still in effect or if it's something that needs to be changed. For a long time, it's been the policy that whenever the certificated, and I assume classified, whenever the non-administrative contracts are negotiated, all the other administrative people, except for the cabinet, automatically get the same raise. And I don't know if that's still in effect or not, but we have wonderful administrative leaders, but we're also paying them a lot more than a lot of other districts. And just because the certificated and classified people get a raise, I don't think it's really necessary that this needs to be an across the board raise to everybody else. I mean, they're already significantly well paid. All you have to do is look online. So it's just something to think about. You know, we're not in a negotiation period now, and there are other things being considered of more importance, but it's just something I thought it needs to be put out there. And if it's still in effect, it needs to be changed. If it's not, fine, but it's something that I think we need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kathy Lambert. When would that be?
the next opportunity after we hear the results from the closed session. Really good results. There were no results.
There was nothing reported out from closed session.
Okay. Well, until the next chance to speak.
This is it, unless you have a, right.
Unless there's a specific agenda item you want to
I'm
speak
just
to,
following up on the search for the superintendent.
This would be the time.
this would be the time, yeah. We're not gonna, there's not an update as far as the search. For the superintendent, not today.
Well, then, do I have to go there at the next meeting? Okay.
Good, I mean, there's a microphone.
Yeah.
I am Kathy Lambert, and I'm just checking in so that we will not be forgotten, because we are some of the elders of the community that are very concerned that this process works as it should according to law. And we have as much skin in the game as anybody else. Some of us have more, but we care very much about our children's, grandchildren's, their children's chances of having a wonderful education. I taught here for many years and never had a moment's regret. So I'm just checking in to see how the process is going of finding a superintendent. And I'll be back.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Next, we have Jen Mariucci.
Good evening, Governing Board, Cabinet, fellow colleagues, guests. I'm here tonight simply to say thank you. Thank you to our board for your support of our new teachers in our district-run induction program. We have the privilege to partner with San Diego County Office of Ed and run our own program here at in Fallbrook. It provides our new teachers 2 years of job embedded, mentor supported professional development. It's individualized based on what individual teachers want to focus on. And we couldn't do it without your support. So I very much appreciate your dedication to our new teachers in our district. I also wanted to thank Mr. Morris for his collaborative mentorship and supportive induction in our district. We were able to wrap up, and I wish Juliana was here because she could say the word colloquium better than I can, this past week with our colloquium. Thank you for those that were able to attend this year. I also wanted to give a big shout out to our administrators. They take time out of their day to come spend some time with our new teachers and get to know them. So I appreciate that. Dr. Gonzalez, thank you for being there. It's always fun. We had Chad Lanting, who's in charge of induction program at San Diego County Office of Ed, come. And it's always fun for him. He drives an hour, but he said it's 100% worth it because we support the program so well and it's supported from top to bottom. And I appreciate that. So thank you.
Okay. And next we have Tara Jenkins.
Sorry. Just wanted to say happy belated Mother's Day. Even if you're not a mom, anybody involved in schools has that loving, nurturing heart. So thank you for what everybody does, from the teachers, the classified to the administrators. And I just wanted to start off by clarifying a few comments I made at the last board meeting, because it sounds like some people took it the wrong way. But I want people to know who don't know me that it's my personal belief that all human beings matter equally. And therefore, I think it's important that everyone be listened to. But a petition was presented at the last meeting, and in it stated that they wanted the process to be fully followed and faithfully and not bypassed. And I have no problem with that. The thing is I just wanted to remind the board about the process of voting. That's the way legally in our country, we make our voice heard and we choose representatives. Again, it doesn't mean you don't listen to a petition, but it does mean don't forget the people that have gone through the process of registering and getting to the polls and things like that. So, on the one hand, if you're going to ask for a process and then in the very next sentence, ask to change the process by creating a new a new community panel, there's a little hypocrisy in that. And I just wanted to point that out. And especially when asking to be completely transparent, and this panel is held in a closed session. And the people who are selected may be wonderful, but that being said, why can't the rest of the community be a part of it? And I understand that it has to be closed because of the interviewees. But again, it just doesn't seem fair access to everyone in the community. And so that would be my comments on that. And because I believe everyone's opinion matters, I just wish that it was open for everyone to be a part of that interview process if we're going to have something like that. That being said, there was someone at another board meeting, and you know what? I don't think I'm going to have time to talk about this other subject. So rather than start it, I'll just hold it off. But I just wanted you to consider that there just seemed to be, on one hand, asking for a process to be followed and transparent. And when parents come to speak at the board, as is their right, or when people come to do that, they're then told that's not the right way to go about it. But somehow creating a whole new change to the process is acceptable. And I'm not necessarily against those things. It's just, I wanted to point out the hypocrisy. And it seems that it's okay when one perspective does it, but when another perspective asks for something, somehow they're not following the process when they are. They're coming to board meetings like is their right, and they're voting. Thank you.
For the Zoom people, could she please state her name before she speaks?
Oh, I did. That was Tara Jenkins.
Jackie, we couldn't hear you and she never said her name.
My name's Tara Jenkins. Thank you.
Okay, and then next we have Cindy Custer.
Hello, thank you. Yes, I'm Cindy Custer. About the superintendent, please select a superintendent who will represent parental choice and will keep parents well informed. And may we have a link in the portal providing us, community and parents, a direct means of communication with the superintendent via his staff. And may we have the written communications that have been acted on to be read at these board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's it.
I will move to reports from the board. Would anybody like to start us off this evening? Volunteer.
With what?
Reports from the board.
Oh, okay, I'll start. I went to the teacher induction celebration because I can't remember how to say yes. Anyway, it was very interesting. It was 1 and 2 year teachers that have been teaching, and they all had their little area set up with cardboard and pictures of what they were doing in their classrooms. It was really interesting. We got to walk along each one of them, and they explained to us what they were using in the classrooms. So it was very interesting.
Thank you. And Miss Lindy, we'll just go down.
That sounds just fine. Thank you. I wasn't able to go to the induction, but I wanted to congratulate all of our new teachers. I wish all of you, if you're on Zoom or here, many, many years of wonderful experiences with our students. You've picked the most amazing profession. You will change lives. And we're so fortunate to have you in our Fallbrook schools. I also wanted to acknowledge and thank everyone who was involved in working with these teachers and who have helped them over the last 2 years become the best teachers that they can be. And So thank you all for that mentorship. As some of you have mentioned, we are in the process of getting ready to, find and hire a new superintendent. And I want to acknowledge my fellow board members. We've all been working extremely hard over the last 3 weeks, putting in many hours. And so I can assure you that this board takes their responsibility very seriously. And I'm proud to be part of this board. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Congratulations to the new teachers as well. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend, but it sounds like it was a great event. Besides that, I was able to attend lunch on the lawn at Mayolis last Friday. Was able to visit my 3rd grader, my 6th grader. It's always a good time. Bringing our burgers. But it's always great when parents can come to the school and spend a lunch at school. And so I really appreciate these opportunities. So again, just had a chance to spend the last lunch on the lawn with my 6th grader. She'll be at Potter next year. And I think they still do lunch on the lawn in Potter, don't they? I don't know. I hope so. Well, I don't know. We'll see. All right. That's it.
So I also want to apologize for not being able to make it to the for the teachers, the new teachers, and congratulate every one of you for that. Congratulations, really, from the bottom of my heart. And just to say, it's all about the kids. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I was one of you, so I understand it's a new and it's a scary and it's an exciting time. So congratulations that you made it through. It gets a little bit easier because you get what I call the Rolodex in your head and you learn how to multitask and juggle a million different things when this child is sick and this child wants your attention and this child forgot their homework and this child needs a pencil and you can just multitask. But when you're new, you can focus on one thing. But as you become more ingrained, you can juggle a multitude of things. So thank you for your commitment because it's a very difficult job and you're all making it look really easy. So thank you. All right, and that will move us to the report to the interim superintendent, Mrs. Martin.
Thank you. You've heard about the colloquium, and I've had to practice that word as over and over. It just flowed so lovely off of from our students. But it was a really, really beautiful event. Thank you to Miss Mariucci for the work that she puts in, and all of the teachers that serve as the mentors to our new teachers. To receive a compliment from the County Office of Ed that our program is a model that he relies upon countywide that's a huge compliment. But it's the investment that we make in our teachers because it's the investment that they make in our students. So it's something to be really proud of. Our infused students, you saw a couple of them here. Mr. Fell and I are continuing to work with them. And again, they're just so bright. They are just so bright. It's very rewarding and it's very interesting to hear their perspective on different things. It was technology last time that we talked about and Chromebooks and how they're used, and they had suggestions. It was awesome. Last week, we also had a special board meeting that was not our board meeting. It was the County Office of Ed's board meeting about the territory transfer with the Citro development. The County Office of Ed and their school board came here I believe it was last Tuesday. They were also at Bonsall, and Fallbrook High School had a meeting here as well, immediately following with a public hearing. So there weren't very many people that attended, but myself, Dr. Hussein, Ms. Nguyen stayed and listened. So it was a pretty quick meeting. And then finally, I mentioned before the focus or the desire to really establish or reestablish a positive community face out there to really make the district have a presence. This community is so supportive in so many ways and has been. I've said I've worked here for 19 years and worked at the high school district before that. So this community is so supportive. One of the things that Dr. Houston and I did was attend a Rotary event that they had, and it was at the Historical Society. I had never been there, so that was very interesting. And we're talking with them about ways we can incorporate some of that into the 3rd grade curriculum for some kind of field trip and activity. And it was very interesting. And I think our students would benefit from that as well. So those are the things we're doing in addition to keeping the day-to-day operations going, but I wouldn't be able to do it without the team here. That's it.
All right, we'll move to DLAC and DAC, and I will once again turn it over to Mrs. Munn.
Thank you very much. Dr. Leah Curcio, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, is going to, alongside our members from our DLAC and our DAC, our District English Learner Advisory Committee, all of these acronyms here, and the District Advisory Committee, they're going to do a presentation. And it was, I look forward to this presentation. I remember your presentation from before, and it's always interesting. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
Good evening, Governing Board and Cabinet and members of the audience. I am so excited to have our two DLAC members with us tonight to do a presentation on our annual accomplishments and the results of our district annual needs assessment from parents. So I'd like to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves.
Gracias. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es María Guadalupe Salmerón y vamos a hacer nuestra presentación. Soy la presidenta en DLAC y vamos a hacer nuestra presentación en español porque estamos orgullosos de nuestro idioma, ya que nuestro segundo idioma es el inglés, así que decidimos hacerlo en español. Y posteriormente la doctora Curcio nos va a ayudar con inglés.
So this is Lupita Somaron, and she's the president of our DLAC committee, and she will be presenting tonight in Spanish because she believes it's important to value both languages and to be representing our community. And
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Tania Aguirre y soy vicepresidenta del comité de DLAC y estoy agradecida por estar aquí con ustedes.
And this is our vice president of DLAC. And I'm sorry, I failed to mention that she did also share that she has 2 children in our schools, and she does too. So we will roll on. So our DLAC and District Advisory Committee has about 8. We had 8 formal meetings this year, and we also do a planning meeting, and we support our reclassification. It is made up not only of our parents, 2 representatives from each schools, but also a teacher from each school. Every meeting has a site administrator present, and really our work is to be a partnership, is to be a decision-making partner. We recommend plans. We help review and support our LCAP. We are one of the input groups for that. We also work on the federal addendum, and we will just kind of talk about, it is about giving voice to our parents and providing guidance and support also to each site's English Learner Advisory Committee. And so there are topics at every meeting. So that was good.
Ahora voy a reportar los aspectos más destacados que tuvimos en la encuesta anual sobre las necesidades del distrito. Y esto fue a partir del ciclo 21-22 al 22-23. Y si nos damos cuenta, nuestros números dicen que el 36% de las encuestas enviadas a las familias regresaron a las escuelas. Y el 82% de nuestros padres sienten que tienen voz y pueden compartir sus ideas. En mi opinión, la manera en que los padres comparten sus ideas en las escuelas es cuando asisten al café con el director, en las juntas y las actividades que tenemos para nuestras familias en ILAC y también en todas las actividades que tenemos familiares con el PTA. Y la otra forma muy importante es en el concilio escolar, que es donde los papás tenemos un voto muy importante para las decisiones de cada escuela.
So as a part of our needs assessment, we had a 36% return rate. It is given in English and Spanish to all of our families in every school in our district. 82% of our parents shared that they feel like they have voice and input. And some of the aspects that she was sharing is that it is through coffee and conversations, through our PTAs, through our ELAC, which is our English Learner Advisory Committees, and also a very important committee that she was discussing is our School Site Council. And all of those committees have members that then represent at a district level.
Y algo muy importante, el 96% de nuestras familias dicen que sienten que sus hijos están seguros dentro de la escuela.
And another very important aspect was that we had an increase of 14% of parents saying that we are acknowledging what they want in our workshops and that they are interested in what we are providing.
Yo les voy a presentar el áreas de crecimiento que hemos hecho en este año escolar. Vamos a continuar. Nos gustaría seguir creciendo en las áreas de comunicación con los padres para que haya una buena comunicación entre la escuela y el hogar. También una comunicación y los padres también en las encuestas nos dijeron que son valorados por el personal. Entonces eso nos gustaría seguir creciendo en eso y que no nada más ciertos padres digan que son bienvenidos en la escuela, sino que todos los padres se sientan bienvenidos y respetados en las escuelas. También queremos seguir apoyando a los padres, resolviendo las necesidades que tengan, ya sea en casa, poder tener talleres para ellos para poderlos ayudar en el crecimiento de sus hijos.
So as we look at the needs assessment and you have an actual copy of all the questions and all of our responses, I will point out most of them are in the high 90s. And we have a nice return rate and wonderful percentages in the very back. But one of the things that we have discovered in going through it is that we want to be able to, and so we're recommending that we continue to have strong communication and helping our parents not just understand the academic progress, but how they can support and improve at home. That connection between communicating the progress, but then also how we can help them help their students at home. And another is that our families feel valued by administrators. We want to continue to grow that number because we saw a little change in it. And because it's important to be able to feel like I can talk to any administrator on the campus.
También tenemos recomendaciones y sugerencias que nos hicieron los padres en qué les gustaría seguir, que nosotros los siguiéramos apoyando. También quieren los padres que sigamos teniendo los talleres para padres para que podamos tener
Oh, sorry. And I got distracted. And the other piece before she moves on to the next slide, which are the things that we're also recommending, is that part of being valued by administrators is a timely response. And so they just want us to continue working in that area to improve those. So into discussing future suggestions, they have come up with a list of classes that they'd like to recommend.
Los padres quieren que nosotros tengamos talleres para poder ayudarles a ellos cómo interactuar con sus hijos en casa. Y eso es muy importante también para nosotros, que los padres puedan ayudar a sus hijos desde casa. También quieren los padres que tengamos acerca de nutrición y la comida, tener talleres de cómo poder apoyar a los padres en hacer comidas saludables para sus hijos. Muchas veces pues los padres no tienen tiempo, entonces queremos que sea algo que puedan hacer ellos fácil, pero que sea saludable para los niños. También queremos seguir continuando con el Palomar College, clases para los padres, porque muchos padres pues tienen dificultad con el idioma. Queremos que ellos sigan teniendo ese apoyo para que puedan pues aprender el inglés y poderles ayudar a sus hijos en la escuela. También quisiéramos pues que el distrito ofreciera talleres para los niños en las escuelas, ya sea de arte, música, porque los niños están muy interesados y les gusta mucho interactuar como en el arte, música, danza, cosas así que ellos, artes plásticas también sería algo muy interesante para los niños, para que estuvieran pues más ocupados y los padres también tuvieran oportunidad de participar en eso.
So for the classes they'd like to recommend, it is to continue offering classes that are interactive, where they can learn with their children and learn how to support them at home. Classes on nutrition and healthy cooking, how to make healthy meals for their families in order to improve our overall nutrition across the district. And just helping them understand the needs of their students, the emotional, the social needs of their students. So they ask that we please continue to offer workshops based on parent input. And they ask that we continue to offer our Palomar College partnership classes, English classes, citizenship classes for our parents and other adult classes. And then finally, out of the survey, there was this ask that we continue to increase the fine arts in our schools, and that we look at offering the music, the dance, but also the visual arts, and then the ceramic or the sculpting, the creation, building type arts.
Ahora yo voy a hablar sobre la participación de los padres y las oportunidades educativas. Los logros que tuvimos en este ciclo escolar fue que repasamos el plan de responsabilidad y control local. Eso quiere decir que en ILAC nos interesa mucho apoyar y contribuir al LCAP. Y también repasamos el anexo federal del LCAP, que es el plan de fondos federales. Y se repasó y se actualizaron los criterios del distrito para reclasificar a los estudiantes. Por lo tanto, se planificó también la celebración de la reclasificación de este año, que fue un éxito porque tuvimos muchos alumnos reclasificados. Por último, quiero agregar que también apoyamos a las escuelas con una variedad de asuntos para tratar en cada junta de ILAC de las respectivas escuelas. Y también contribuimos con ideas para la educación de los padres en las escuelas, no solamente de los alumnos, sino todas las familias en general son importantes porque el bienestar de la familia es el bienestar de los estudiantes.
So their list of accomplishments was their participation in the LCAP and providing input into the LCAP. Also, it was and is working on the federal addendum and our plan for our federal funding. They also participate and review every year our district's reclassification criteria, including the plan of the planning of the large celebration that we had. And she's very excited that we had so many students recognized this year and that you were there to see our students receive that honor. And then finally, they provide support to all of our school sites ELACs topics. They have discussions and share ideas about how to have parents become so involved in their schools, even if there is a language difference. And that she just wants to recognize how important it is for parents to have that education and that participation at the school sites. All right.
Por último, quiero agregar lo que hacemos cada año. Pues, obviamente, nos tenemos que reunir, ¿verdad?, con nuestro comité y solicitamos ideas y asuntos de interés para ellos para tratarlos durante el año. También volvemos a repasar asuntos principales que requieren nuestra contribución y aporte y tal vez responder algunas dudas o intercambiar ideas de una escuela con otra. A veces a una escuela le funciona una cosa, a otra escuela le funciona otra, pero al final si todos hacemos lluvia de ideas, hacemos un trabajo más grande y más genial.
So each year she explains that our committee meets and we ask for ideas. And one of the highlights of what she said is each school does things differently, but they come together to share those ideas in order to improve as a whole. So in a way, this is our little sales pitch to all the parents that are listening and the people that are here in the audience, is that we're always looking for topics. We do revisit certain things like the LCAP and the federal addendum, but we're always looking to improve and provide that sense of community through our DLAC and our DELC. So.
Y sería todo. Muchas gracias por escucharnos y por darnos el tiempo de venir a dar nuestro reporte. Es muy importante para nosotros que escuchen nuestras inquietudes y también nuestros agradecimientos.
Muchas gracias.
So thank you. And
All right, that brings us to our next action item, emergency resolution 13-2223 for fire alarm system at William H. Frazier Elementary School. It is recommended that the governing board approve resolution number 13-2223, determining that an emergency exists and that bidding on the fire alarm system replacement work at William H. Frazier Elementary School should be waived. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I'll second. Thank you. Do we have discussion?
So the understanding here is that the bid process needs to be waived because it's a matter of, we're dealing with emergency items, so yeah, makes sense. Mhm.
All right, then I'll call for the vote. Ms. McBride. Aye. Mr. Favela.
Aye.
Ms. Lundin. Aye. Ms. Ball. Aye. And I vote aye as well. Motion passes, which brings us to information workshop conference and attendance. Consent agenda. It is recommended the governing board approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll move
Thank
second.
you. Any discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Ball. Aye. Ms. Lundin. Aye. Mr. Favela.
Aye.
Ms. McBride. Aye. And I will vote aye as well. So the motion passes. And that brings us to our adjournment at 6:43.